David Goldman, who is one of my favorites, came out with a new piece today in the aftermath of Iowa, the caucuses, which were won by Ted Cruz, which I know, by the way, I know David personally. I've gotten to know him professionally, but I've gotten to know him personally as well because I was a fan of his work. I just want to disclose that at the start. And he is, in terms of the Republican nomination, certainly a fan of Senator Cruz. But so I'm not going to read you his whole article here. Column 1, it's long. 2, I want you to go to his page, but I'll sort of whet your appetite about a certain point, and I certainly probably did by putting the word neocons in the subject here. But let me just read you one thing he says, and the general point is about why the establishment, which is not such a good thing, a good institution as those of us on the right know, it's sort of a dirty word right now, why the establishment hates Cruz so much. They're trying to make it about Cruz's personality, but who's really buying that entirely? But let me read you just the paragraph here about the neocons, and then you can Google this. It's at atimes.com, which stands for Asia Times, and it's called On Iowa and the World, and his pen name is Spengler, Spengler, like the writer from long ago. Let me just read you what he says about the neocons. That was a long enough intro there. If you're a big fan of Bill Kristol, etc., you're probably not going to like this part. Where is this? Could have sworn I saw the word neocons in there before. Oh, here it is. What makes Cruz so hated is simply that he is smart enough to do without the establishment. Cruz likes to compare himself to Reagan, whose didactic, I think he has a typo, didactic education and foreign policy gave him independence of judgment and confidence to pursue victory in the Cold War when the establishment of his day thought it impossible. In many ways, Cruz will have a bigger problem if elected. For a decade prior to Reagan's victory, the neoconservatives, led by their godfather is in quotes, Irving Kristol, who of course is the father of neocon superstar Bill Kristol, who's the editor of the Weekly Standard, and by the way was Alan Keyes' college roommate at Harvard. The neoconservatives, led by their godfather Irving Kristol, had trained Cotter, ground out academic articles, and sparred over the big themes in the op-ed columns of the major media. Today the pickings are much slimmer. It's not so much that the emperor has no clothes, but that the emperor has no tailors. In other words, they didn't groom too many young people. Let me just read you the next paragraph too. Again, I'm trying to whet your appetite, or maybe do a little service if you're out there walking your dog, or driving somewhere right now and you can't look at this. But he goes on later to talk about Marco Rubio, the central casting candidate sent by the establishment, aka the neocons. But let me just read you the paragraph that follows the one I read you before. Cruz, if elected, will have to do his own thinking to an extent that no American president has had to do since Lincoln. He is intelligent enough and arrogant enough to do that. And he will owe no favors or patronage to the establishment. He would be the cleverest man to occupy the Oval Office in a century and a half. I'm not sure. Who's he referring to before that? Oh, Lincoln, I guess. Oh, he might be smarter than Lincoln, too. He carries no baggage from the Bush administration and will not invite the Weekly Standard's Bill Kristol or Fox News' Charles Krauthammer to draft an inaugural address, as did Bush in 2004. He won the Iowa caucuses by building the strongest grassroots network in the country. He claims to have a campaign chairman in every county of the U.S. By the way, David, it says every country of the United States. You got to get a better editor on this stuff. There's a lot of typos I'm seeing here. Which makes him independent of the party apparatus, such as it is. Let me see if there are any interesting comments here. Okay, yeah, I like this one by Ticker Tape Guy. No one likes Cruz is in quotes. He writes, yep, no one likes Rafael Ted Cruz, his hack lawyer degree. His wife has second in command in Goldman Sachs. His large debts from loans he has received from his campaign, making Cruz a yes man to special interest groups. Why is he calling it a hack lawyer degree? The guy went to Harvard and was a top student there. Yeah, that's a great way to be taken seriously, Ticker Tape Guy. But anyway, yes man to special interest groups, and his phony baloney Jesus trip he took in Iowa. Not even a preacher does what he did, and I doubt he has a single crucifix in his office. Well, he's not Catholic. Let me just see if there's any more interesting comments here. Again, I'm whetting your appetite. I hope you'll go to Asia Times and see it. Oh, here's a criticism of what David Goldman wrote by Sarastro92. One obvious howler, Cruz, quote, is intelligent enough and arrogant enough, and he will owe no favors or patronage to the establishment. Well, and then he writes, except for his Goldman Sachs health insurance, half his Goldman Sachs family income and millions of dollars of Goldman Sachs secret loans, Cruz, quote, forgot to report. Like the man said, Cruz owes no favors. P.S. Dave, as if he knows him personally. Cruz is barred by the Constitution from serving in office. Well, that's not what the Illinois Board of Elections said today, as was discussed on Rush Limbaugh. Anyhow, this is Adam at Heart of Goldman, and I hope you read the article one last time. It's not really an article, it's a column. It's at Asia Times, on Iowa and the World, Spengler. Spengler, again, is David P. Goldman's pen name. All right, you should be able to find it.